check, 1 2. Check, 1 2. 1 2. 1 2. 1 2.
apologies from lunch. Good afternoon, everyone. That's much better. So you've enjoyed your lunch? Fantastic. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know, clap your hands. Good. I'm gonna slightly tweak it. If you're full, satisfied, clap your hands. If you're learning, having fun at the same time, clap your hands. There you go. Okay. So, sorry, I know I had given different information before we break out for lunch, but there's a slight changes with the program, so please do bear with us. So I'm going to call a panelist who are going to discuss about the convergence of food systems, climate action, and digitalization. So to join me right on stage, I want to invite the first panelist, and her name is Ms. Sally Owonda. Let's appreciate her while she walks on stage. She'll be followed by Mr. Peter Othengo. Followed by Miss Leah Richardson, who's a nutrition specialist food system at UNICEF. Karibu. Karibu. And last but not least, meet Dr. Mushalule Yusuf. Forgive me if I've not pronounced it correctly. Dr. Mushalule Yusuf. Karibu. And this amazing session will be moderated by Mr. Edgar Okoth. Let's appreciate him while they walk on stage.
Yeah, thank you. Once more, let's appreciate the panelists. Yeah, so I know since morning we've been talking about issues of food systems, but I want to a little bit the gears and look at some of these nexus or the convergence between the food systems, climate action, and digitalization. We all know that we are in the era of AI, and quite a number of applications in terms of how we can drive sustainable food systems. So to my first question, to Sally. You look like a Gen Z. So, yeah, so the first question is, from your experience, how do you see the intersection between food systems, climate action, and digitalization, and as you look at it in terms of the future sustainable food systems?
Thank you very much, Edgar. And yes, I'm a Gen Z for today. And yeah, the convergence between climate, food systems, digitalization, it is something that we cannot run away from. You cannot talk about food and not talk about climate because of the changes that we're experiencing. And because of that, we need also the technology for us to be able to make the right decisions even as we grow the food. But beyond that, we know that when we're talking food systems, it goes beyond the production to the entire value chain, including the transportation, including the trade part of it. We need that technology for us to be able to even market our food, but also to help us with even the traceability of the food so that we are able to show how organic or how healthy our food is. We need that technology to be able to prove that point. So that is where we're saying you cannot work with one and leave the other. And I'll briefly speak about the project that we're implementing as Africa Center for Sustainable and Inclusive Development. This is a project that we're implementing in Migori County. It's called Sustainable and Inclusive Food Systems Agents, where we are having the women and youth as agents of change in sustainable food systems. But in this particular project, we are working on the convergence between the food, the climate, and biodiversity, as well as market bit of it, where the women and youth are harvesting a bark of a tree for a hot beverage that has a health benefit, including being an antioxidant. But then they are also doing this in a sustainable way to ensure that we do not the tree does not face extinction, which is a problem, an issue in the near future if we do not plant more. So they're also planting more to ensure that they conserve the biodiversity. But at the same time, we are working on value addition. So now the back of the tree is the hot beverage, and we are helping as Africa's Center for Sustainable and Inclusive Development with packaging of this hot beverage and market bit of it. So we find that we need the climate people to work together with the the people in the biodiversity space, people in the trade space, and people in the food and agriculture space. So that is just an example that I will give you at this moment. Thank you.
Inclusivity and diversity. Yes, now coming to you, Leah, you work with UNICEF, and UNICEF interacts with quite a diverse number of communities. And I know in your areas of work, you've seen quite a number of models that work and also some that do not work. Will you just tell us some of these models that you feel really work and can be scaled in terms of just highlighting that nexus between climate change, digitalization, and food systems transformation?
Thank you, and thank you for having UNICEF in this panel today. I think, one thing we need to start off with is understanding UNICEF's role in the food systems agenda. And we're really here to complement all of our partners, the government and our UN sister agencies, the private sector. And our main objective is really to think about how do we put the needs of the child within the food system, right? We talk about the food system often, and we talk about it as a population-wide sort of phenomenon that is happening to us. But how do we put the needs of the child in that? And so if you think about climate change and digitalization, something that we see happening is that digitalization isn't something that necessarily goes with equity, right? So there might be digitalization within the agricultural sector, but it won't necessarily benefit all communities the same or all children the same. So how can we think about working together so that digitalization in the food system also equally impacts and benefits children? With regards to climate change, we clearly see the effects of climate change obviously on food production. And that has a great impact on dietary diversity, which is so important for young children in order for them to be nourished and grow to their full potential. And we heard the UNICEF representative this morning discuss about how, about 1 out of 5 children in Kenya live in severe food poverty. That means that they eat 2 or less food groups per day. So if you think about the impacts of climate change on those very vulnerable children, what does that mean for them if they're only now eating 2 food groups a day? So these areas of food systems, climate, and digitalization all fit very clearly together. Thank you.
So putting the child at the center of everything that we talk about. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so Yusuf, since morning, and we've been talking about issues to do with data. And all of us are here because at one point or the other, we've interacted with the data, and that's what we are here to present, and this is what gives us statistics. And also, there have been quite a challenge in terms of access to climate data, especially to the farmers. And when I'm talking about farmers, not just the large-scale farmers, but I'm talking about the farmer back in the village. How can we make climate data accessible, but also actionable to the farmers who are back in the village? And when you're talking about this, also, can you also talk about the policymakers? Yeah, so both farmers and also in terms of policymakers.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm called Dr. Mchilde Yusuf. In terms of data, data is the main key thing, because we are looking at data in terms of the analytic of this data and making some proper decision making, because we'll be having a challenge on how we manage this data of ours, and so it can also sustain this data in one or another in terms of agriculture. So one of the key things we put in mind is the policy and institutional linkages. Are the policy frameworks very clear in terms of management of data? How do you handle this data? Are all the process clear? Because we know we have the Vision 2030, we know we have the MTP4, okay? And also we know we have the beta. Are we aligning all these things in line with data so that at least it can transform the society and it can add an impact? The second thing is investment and financing. We need to invest a lot on data, how we manage this data of ours, so that if we don't have proper investment, it becomes a challenge. Because everywhere, everybody is collecting data. Is collecting data. But at the end of the day, how impactful is it within our counties, within our national government? Because agriculture has devolved. And you find even statistic units within our counties, they're struggling. And yet people are coming to collect data there, and they don't have even the archives in terms of repository on this. So it's going to, if it's done well, it's going to help in terms of planning purposes and also investment. Because right now we're in information age, and information age is data. Apart from that, also you're seeing like government has come up with the data platform, whereby with the support of the Sweden, whereby the main funder and also the FAO and the ministry as a key technical people through the KIAMIS platform. It has made a lot of difference, a lot of impact in terms of data, and people have seen out the relevance of this data, how impactful it is. But we need to go a notch higher, so that at least we can be a benchmark. Everybody can be talking about a good story on how we manage agricultural data. Another key thing is digital technologies on data dimension. Because right now we have issues like emerging technologies, emerging trends, things like a blockchain. How are we embracing blockchain in terms of analytic, in terms of decision making? We have the AI, the machine learning. We've had recently, the government is trying to set up to use drones to check soil fertility, to advise our farmers. All these things are decision guided by data. And without data, the facts around, we cannot get it right. So those are the issues that we need to look at it. You have seen there are so many applications that are there. There's a Kilimostat, there's what, they're being used, Know Your Farmer app by Carol and others are there, but still much more needs to be done for sustainability. The issue is not coming up, it's the sustainability of this data. We also have issues of climate resilience also. It's very key in terms of the climate change and how these issues, the carbon and the rest, how we're managing also, we need data. And that's why we have things like the remote sensing and GIS, Geographic Information System, the geo-collect data, whereby we are looking at the GPR, we do mapping of this. We map also to make some decision. We map also to advise our farmers by doing capacity building with them. It plays a very significant role. And putting in mind all these things, the government now is looking forward, using what you call the data governance framework. The data governance framework here that was launched last year is very key to address this issue. It's an ecosystem that allows all the sectors, from development partners, private sectors with the ASNET and the rest, the counties, and all the players, all key stakeholders, on how they can use this data, putting in mind the set up regulations and standards so that they don't comply, because also we are being regulated by Data Protection Office Act, whereby we have the 2019 Act. Is very key, whereby there's a lot of sensitizations need to be done. Because if you use this data right, then you're moving somewhere. This is the solution of a food system. And this solution of food system can only be impacted if we comply with the data governance frameworks under the Ministry of Agriculture as the key player of it. If you do it right, I think we'll not have other problems, because data is the real business. How you do it is upon us as technical players in this house.
Thank you, Yusuf. You've really brought out the issue of data use and also data availability. However, there's been a big gap in terms of data demand, and this mostly rises from the digital literacy, or say digital illiteracy that most of us face. So from your experience, how can we overcome this, the data literacy, so that people can be able to pull and also demand for this data? Because as you rightfully say, it's something that we need to utilize as we move forward. And also we have the mantra of leaving no one behind. How do we ensure that we carry everyone as we move along in terms of the data demand for it? Okay,
also maybe I want to remind members here that the government has tried to do much in terms of data and digitizing agriculture. We have programs like Aquirea, Agribora, we have Pigian, we have Farmers Pride, Kuza Biashara, Mshamba. All these things are there with digital but guided by data that is verified and valid. The only problem now is the sensitization, whereby there are some various avenues the government has put across also to the Ministry of Agriculture. We have various sensitization at also the county level to sensitize people on the importance of this data and how impactful it is. Because at the end of the day, data is an investment. but we are lacking that investment and the market access of this data. You're just having it. Once I have, maybe the farmer's data is enough. What else are we going to put in mind? We need to put some serious decisions that can transform this country, that are realistic and factual on our status in terms of food security. And this is the agenda, this is the theme why we are here. How secure are we? Once you are secure, then it means you are going to have a society that will be solving the problem, whereby be solving the agenda of the government. Food security is very key, and nutrition. Through it, we can have employment opportunities and other opportunities that will come. But if we know how to manage this data, disseminate right, but comply it within this regulation framework that are there with the government, and also the data governance framework by the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock. I know some members, they don't know about it here, whereby we are free to share with you. You can have a look at it. This is the guiding, it's like our Bible, it's like our Quran or the Bible. So if you do it right, and you comply with it from the county level until the national level, I think we can get it right. You can get it right by having an ecosystem. Because that ecosystem will have all the emerging technologies that are coming in, can be absorbed by the framework to provide all the solutions. Sensitization has started. I know we have, Carol is doing well also, and the ministry has many initiatives on that. And slowly maybe we'll come to your counties. Okay. We are on the way. The county secretary is here, our boss. Things we're working hard on that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yusuf. And Yusuf has just said that he's a walking data or digitalization Bible. Yes. So you can catch him anywhere so that he can talk to you about what the ministry is doing. Yes. So coming to you, Sally, as we finalize, in terms of issues of inclusivity, but also ensuring that everyone is involved, how can we, or how can government and other stakeholders work together in terms of championing data digitalization in the country in terms of ensuring there is transformative food systems?
Thank you for the question. I think it's working. Thank you. Thank you for the question, Edgar. Yes, we need to work together to start with. We need to have a multi-sectoral approach. But even as we talk about working together, we talk about it so much. But when it comes to digitalization, we need to talk and have very honest discussion around connectivity, because that is a big issue in this country. When you're in Nairobi, you might think that Kenya is so much connected, but the reality is that only 42% of the Kenyan land has access or connected to internet, only 42%. And most of the areas that are not connected are actually in the arid and semi-arid areas in the rural setting. So it means majority of Kenyans are already not connected. We talk about 127% of Kenyans having mobile phones, but those are just SIM cards, where some of us have multiple. Myself, I have 2 numbers. Some people have 3 or 5. But when you now look at how many people actually have phones, and especially smartphones, we find that in the rural setup, maybe only 32% of the rural Kenyan population has smartphones, majority of whom are men. The women do not have access to the smartphones. So that is already a disadvantage. They're starting at a very disadvantaged place. So maybe this is the time to have the discussion of, one, the affordability of data, so that they can be able to even access the data. 2, the affordability of smartphones, because in they talk about an average smartphone being 6,000 to 12,000 shillings. That is like 3 months' income of a household in the rural setup. So am I going to spend my 3 months of the 12 months to get a phone? So I know that the government had or has a very good idea or a good project around phone affordability. So that is something that we can also really push, because we know the role that digitalization is playing in food systems. But above all, we have to remember that the women and youth are not just beneficiaries, they're not just participants in food systems, they are actual change makers. And if you're talking about the future of agriculture, the future of food, the future of food systems, it is female, it is youthful, it is bold, it is sustainable, it is regenerative, it is here with us. And for us to see it, we have to watch, we have to listen, and we have to invest in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sally. I've been given 5 minutes. So at this point, allow me to just take probably 3 questions from the audience so that it's not a monologue just between me and the panelist. So questions, I'll start from this side. Question on digitalization, yes, number 1, number 2, hapa katikati, tukipita tumeenda. Okay, so we'll have those 2 and then we wrap it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name is Lynette Dinga. I'm with World Food Program. I had a question in regards to issues of data, and I think a lot has been shared about it. When we look at the challenges around climate action, how do we see anticipatory data analysis being integrated within the data processes that we have within the food system so that we ensure we are able to take timely action and preparatory activities that we undertake? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lynette. Yes, number 2 was there. We only had 2 questions.
Thank you. Mine is not a question per se. I just wanted to weigh in. My name is Frederick Achar. I work with Kilimo Hakika. And on the issue of data, I would weigh in by saying it is not per se digital literacy that is a big problem, or even data demand. Having been in the space, one major thing that we really need to understand as users and people who are using the data to integrate it into the agriculture and food systems is the users, the grassroots people need a service. They do not need the data. So it is a responsibility of all stakeholders to ensure that that data turns into a service consumable within the capacities of the rural communities. So they are some level of education, there are some level of access to digital tools, including, say, for instance, feature phones. But what can that data how can that data be transformed into a consumable service or product that a feature phone can consume, that someone who only knows how to read and write can consume, instead of someone who knows how to browse? So this is something that I would want to challenge all of us, that we may not need to stay in the lamentation ground so long. What do we have that we can utilize? Transforming that data into a service consumable by the communities and the population that needs that data, transforming the agriculture sector. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for weighing in on that. Anyone who feels comfortable answering the first question? Data analysis in terms of anticipatory action.
There was an issue of climate change, climate resilience on data, and what I'm saying here, we need to focus on what you call climate smart agriculture. Is one of the key solutions on that. And what also my brother has also alluded in is not about the amount of data we have. You can have the quantity but not quality. And put in mind that most of our farmers are a rural setup, and those households, how can we empower them with the information they have to make a difference, transform their lifestyle? And that's why not even a gadget, because some of them, they don't have serious gadgets that maybe have those social medias and the rest. But at that level, the kind of information that we get as experts, can you advise them to make the right decision in terms of planting, in terms of taking care of the crops, in terms of dealing with some of the diseases that are there, at their level down there as we go up? And that's why even there's agripreneurs that are there by the ministry, whereby also they'll be spearheading the process. We have the ATCs that are there to spearhead the process, and also all this initiative the government is trying to put across, so that at least it's a matter of being informed. Okay, it's being informed. Once you're being informed, then you can make the right decisions. But if you are not aware, there's a lot of guesswork. Even our farmer right now, they're doing guesswork. Some of them, they're doing guesswork in how to apply the fertilizer, because the data of the information that they have is the old one that they used to have, our old parents they used to have. So this is the right, because we are in information age, and we are trying to maximize all options. So this data that is there, can it make a difference? And also, can it open a market access? Can it be valued in terms of, can we even sell it? Because there's investment at the lower level. Yeah, that's the only way it can be sustainable.
Thank you so much, Yusuf. So as we finalize, in 1 second, I think those are 3 seconds. So just one thing. that you think we need to prioritize, or that you know that we need to prioritize to ensure that we can accelerate this convergence of food systems, data digitalization, and climate action. So I'll start with Sally as we go this way. Yes, 1 second. Yes.
Thank you. Just to mention that on the data and what is being done on the ground, we have the Mkulima Smart, which is an app that is being used by the farmers. Most of the farmers in Narok will tell you they use it. And the founder is here today. If you're lucky, you'll have a conversation with him. And what needs to be done is for all of us to work together. It's for all of us to listen to each other and ensure that the different policies are actually able to speak on the same actions. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Leah.
Thank you. I just want to remind us what one of the speakers this morning said. I think they said something like, the Ministry of Agriculture does production and the Ministry of Health does outcomes. And I think we need to think about what we use data for and what data that is. We're talking a lot here about agriculture and about production and about climate. But we also have other data that tells us whether a food system is achieving its goals.
One thing that you think you need
one
to
thing.
Yes.
So I think we need to think about, similar to what Sally was saying, is how can we integrate these areas so that we don't just talk about agriculture or climate or nutrition, but how can we make them all work together?
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, because I know we have transactional data, we have the routine data, and integration is very key, the way my colleagues have said, but also we need to have a goodwill. You cannot integrate if there's no goodwill.
Yeah.
From both the players, both the public, the private, and also the partners. They must have a goodwill to inform, to involve, and make proper decision in how we disseminate and use our data. Okay. That is the solution for food system security.
Yeah, thank you so much, our panelists, all of you. And three things I think that are coming out of this panel. One is inclusivity and diversity, making the child at the center of all our conversations and all our decisions. But then most of all is that what is common across all this is let us involve everyone. Let us integrate in a practical sense. So allow me and also join me in appreciating this panel as they step off the podium. Yeah, thank you so much.
Let's appreciate him once more, them once more. It's clear that the convergence of food systems, climate action, digitalization is completely necessary. And in the spirit of saying that we should not leave anyone behind, we now shift our focus to one of the most vital and dynamic forces shaping the future of our food systems. In every village, every farm, every African market, young people and women are not just participants, they are clearly change makers. So as we dive into this next conversation, let's think about how can we explore ways of how we can empower this group, invest in them, and also create spaces for this group to thrive. So ladies and gentlemen, with no further ado, let's welcome our next panel as we delve into youth and women in agri-food systems. First on stage, I want to invite Miss Mary Ann, who's from Rhino Park Dairy Resource Center. Please appreciate her while she walks on stage. Please begin by the far end seat. Karibu sana. Next on stage, I want to welcome Mr. Kamau Njoroge from Wing Farm. Closely followed by Miss Elizabeth Mwende from World Food Forum. Last but not least, from the World Food Program, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Wario Golo. This amazing session will be moderated by Miss Meru Karanu. Let's appreciate her while she walks on stage. Mary Karanu. Please bear with us. Sorry about that. I have just been updated. Miss Mary is not here. So I want to throw somebody under the bus. So if your name is Marianne, please do come on stage and take over this amazing session. All right, we'll have Salome Karibu. Let's appreciate her. She stepped in.
Good afternoon once more. So we have the youth and the women speaking about agri-food systems. And we're talking about transformation, and we know without the women and the youth, we might move, but we might not go far. So we need to hear from the four panelists that we have here. I'll give them a moment to just introduce themselves, like 30 seconds to introduce yourself, then we start on the discussion. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Maimuna Said, farmer, founder, and the CEO of Mewa Farm in Wajir County. I do farm horticultural crops and also fruit trees.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Irene Kagera. I'm here on behalf of World Food Forum, and I'm also a youth agri-champion with Ban Ki-moon Center for Global Citizen. We will leverage more on intergenerational learning and also cross-sectoral collaboration for transformative food systems. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Kamau Njoroge. I'm the CEO and founder of Wing Farm Organization. I'm also the national youth representative at the Kenya National Farmers Federation and a board member there. I'm also a dairy farmer, so I love milk.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Mary Ann, and I'm a dairy farmer under Langata County, Nairobi, Langata Sub-County under Nairobi County, and I'm a co-founder of Rhino Park Dairy Resource Center. My husband produces the milk and I add value. And we also have youth amongst us.
Marianne, I'll start with you. You've talked about doing the Rhino Park with yourself. It's more of a family affair. You have your husband involved. And we'd like to, because that is an example of how to do it in a very inclusive way. So we'd like to hear from you, based on your experience. What does inclusive food systems look like?
It means that we have to be able to produce a lot of food, but safe food, and also have the knowledge of value addition. And in that process, we also are able to employ other people. We could have other people in the value chain, especially the youth. I even have riders who take away my yogurt to the customers. We also have youth also participating in exhibitions and sales. So it is a network of a lot of youth and women involved.
Thank you, Marianne. You've talked about involving the youth in the work that you're doing, and I would like to hear from the youth that is seated just next to you. From your experience, Kamau, how are youth transforming agri-food system? What are the youth doing?
So, youth are doing many things in agriculture. So there are different things, depends. So the value chain of agriculture is very big, and there are different areas that young people are involved. But one of the areas that are involved in is technology and innovation. So today we have very many technologies and innovations. And some of these technologies, such as maybe AI, we have the e-commerce platform that young people have been involved in. And we also have agroecological practices that are innovations also in technology. And the good thing with agroecology, it also helps in food systems sustainability. So apart from now the innovation, also young people are involved in starting up agribusinesses. So most of us, we think that young people are not in agriculture. Young people are being scared of agriculture, is it? So if we tell young people to go to agriculture, we say that young people are shying away from agriculture, is it? But young people are interested in agriculture. The only issue is there are so many challenges that are keeping them away from agriculture. Then for agriculture, if we say to tell young people to go to agriculture, we don't have to tell them to go to the shamba. There are very many things that they can do. We have production, we have distribution, we have packaging that young people are involved in. So young people are involved in different parts of the food system and also promoting sustainable practices such as agroecology. We have some people doing BSF, Black Soldier Farming, which is a good sustainable practice that is helping to reduce the cost of production. So for instance, today, if you see the cost of eggs, it has gone so high because of the cost of the poultry feeds, but there are some innovations that are coming up that young people are engaged in. So today, as I was walking through the exhibition, I saw a group of young people. I think they came through the World Food Program that are doing a Zona and Black Soldier Fly, which is a good innovation and it's a sustainable way of reducing the cost of production for the chicken and also making us have access to sustainable food systems. Thank you.
For sharing the amazing work that the youth are doing. You talked about the digital bit of it as well, and the role of technology in all that. And next to you is someone who is doing a lot with the technology, and we'd want to know, because here we are doing the stock taking, we want to know exactly what is working on the ground. Sababu saa zingine tunasema mambo ni tofauti kwa ground. So we want to know exactly which are the digital platforms that have been you've successfully used, or you know the groups of youth that have been successfully using those digital platforms for agri-food systems transformation.
So thank you so much. So in the World Food Forum, we onboard all the youths in the agri-food systems. And in this, we leverage more on different expertise from water conservation, poultry farming. So some of the innovations that have worked is like the use of Zypits, which is in the production stage for the crops. This ensures soil fertility and also water conservation. We also have solar-powered brooders to brood the chicken, and we also have the incubators, which are fully automated. So with this, the youths are onboarded on different levels of food systems, from production, value addition. It also includes marketing, where we have the digital marketing of the different food systems, commodities. And we've seen they're becoming successful, and these are at the grassroots levels. Yeah.
Thank you. Amazing work, including the issues of solar power breeders, the digital marketing that is being used. But maybe in all this, there might be need for policy. I'm just thinking, but maybe you can tell us, Maimuna, what if we have enough policy, we are at a perfect place, we do not need to do anything, or if there's need for any policy shifts to ensure that the innovations that the two have talked about and the inclusion that Marianne spoke about are able to be upscaled. Do we need any policy shift? Are we okay? Are we perfect? What do we have?
I think in this country we are not short of policy. What we have as a challenge is implementation. And in the agricultural sector, that's the huge gap, especially in northern Kenya, where I come from. You find that the ministry provides quite a number of programs and projects that are to be implemented, especially by the youths and women. But at the grassroots level, you find that there is little to none projects that are being trickled down to Wajir County, to be specific. So you see that that's a huge gap, whereby if the ministry provides more than 100 projects and less than 5 projects are being implemented in Wajir County. Maybe it's because of the perception that the Northern Kenya, they don't do farming, but woe unto them, because there is the paradigm shift. Northern Kenya have invested in farming, being supported by the county government and non-state actors, especially World Food Program. But unfortunately, it's not enough, because there is also the need of mindset change. For the people in Wajir County and the larger Northern Kenya, most of us are pastoralists. So you find that there is need to change the mind of the people that agriculture is the new in thing, because the issue of climate change affecting our livestock. So we need to also have an alternative a resource of livelihood, which is agriculture and other production like poultry farming. There's the issue of BSF, and then there's the issue of involving the region into innovation. Because when we look at Northern Kenya, which is an arid region, I usually compare it with regions like countries like Israel, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, which is a desert. And they have invested huge in agriculture, especially on innovation. Because the challenges that they are facing in those countries, it's quite similar to what we are facing in our region. But we have not invested heavily on innovation and also involving ourselves in crops that are drought tolerant. Yeah, so when it comes to policy, I can say it's not a challenge. It's the implementation of these policies whereby there is a huge gap.
Thank you. You've talked about, we have the policy, we need the implementation, we need the mindset shift, and we need investment. And it looks like, I'm not sure if at the digitalization process we are okay or we need some investment. And that is the question, how is the situation of access to finance for the women and youth, and what can be done to ensure that the finance for agri-food systems is accessible to the youth and the women in the space? So this is a general question to all of you. I'll start with you, Marianne, as you come towards my side. Thank you.
Yes, I cannot fail to say that policy is what has made me be here, because due to the government policies and county policy, we've been in programs that has developed us from far, from just being producers of raw materials to doing value addition and to being granted equipment to continue increasing our production and our sales. So I agree policy has taken a big step in changing how women and youth are getting along with the agribusiness. But nevertheless, I still think that if we can tap on the societies and the women groups, the way people meet together, we can be able to educate and inform people more, because digitalization has not reached the grassroots. So if we were able to capitalize on these women who meet together and the youth who meet together in the villages and give them more capacity building to understand and tap to the government accessible funds like the Women Fund, the Youth Fund and all that, then I think we will grow better in the agri-business.
Thank you, Marianne. Come out in 1 minute, please.
It's okay, thank you. So I will pose a question. Today we are about 57 million Kenyans, is it? So by 2030 it will be about 60, is it? So Dr. Songa asked me in the morning, when we get to 90 million, will we be able to feed ourselves? Will we be able? It's a question, guys. Will we manage to be able to feed ourselves? So this is a challenge that we need to make sure empower young people to be able to do this. And one of the challenges that is affecting young people to participate in agriculture or to participate in the agri-food systems, it's access to finances. Because access to finance is a challenge, because if you go to a bank, they ask you, do you have security? Do you have land? So for me as a young person, I don't have. For me, I'm waiting for my father to give me so that I can go and get a loan. But I'm interested to do agriculture, but I can't do, I have to wait for my father to give me land so that I can do that. If I go to buy, the land is so expensive. So for us, we need to come up with policies and initiatives that can help young people to access finances. So for me, some of the intervention that we can use, we can come up with grants that can help young people to access financing. And when we give young people these grants, also build their capacity, do mentorship, provide them with mentors. So for instance, you'll find someone like Dr. Songa has experience for maybe more than 50 years. Link him with a young person and mentor him, work with him throughout the journey. Show him this is what to do as a young person. Get up there. If you want to do maybe business in dairy, this is where you get the market. This is where you get the good breeds. This is where you get the good feeds. So as us, as successful people, let's take young people who are interested in agriculture, work with them. Take their hand, work with them the journey of agriculture and the food system. Within 50 years, we'll have a sustainable food system. When we get to 90 million, we'll be feeding ourselves and feeding other countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the role of mentorship. Before we get to you, let's just hold on to the comment. I would like to go back to the plenary. If there are any comments, questions, not comments, questions, very straight. So one, any other question? Two. So I'll take the two questions. Be very direct, the specific question, and to whoever it is directed.
Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Skita Ocharo, the Executive Director for Women, Peace, Climate Resilience, Justice Association here in Kenya. I work with grassroots women. And if I take an example of Oloropin women group, they would want to hear the story. How did a woman like them manage? And I'm going to address my question to Maimuna. Maimuna, I know you're a work in progress and you have a story. So how does your story look like? What can I go and share with Oloropin woman in Kajiado? Thank you.
Behind you.
Good afternoon. My name is Solomon Ndiga Onditi. I wear so many hats, but majorly on social entrepreneurship. So mine is a stressor and a challenge. I really wish we could have a county representative on the panel so that we can actually spread it out. I've listened to Kamau and the two ladies over there. And one thing I've learned, or one thing that is coming out clearly, is there still exists gaps and challenges. In as much as we are talking about youth empowerment, women empowerment, well, there's no clear framework on how to do that. And that is why Kamau is actually saying he cannot access loans from the bank. And well, my stressor is this. Can we have an agreement by the county governments, all 47 counties, where we can have the youth and women being given contracts to supply maybe food or foodstuffs? Why I'm saying that, we are having a Feed the County program being done by our governor, Governor Sakaja. And of course, he's being supplied. He's doing this kitchen, modern kitchen, up, huku. Can't we have something, an agreement where these kids, these women, can be given contracts to supply? And actually, the same county can actually give them an incentive to set up that, whichever they're going to do to give back to the county. In that manner, in that regard, Kamau, you'll be sorted. Mom, you'll be sorted. So what is lacking is the government willingness.
Thank you.
Sorry. Let me just say this and sit down. At the end of it all, if we are just going to pinpoint this and pinpoint that, we'll just be giving out problems and no solutions. Yeah.
Thank you for your comment. The question is to you, Maimuna. So you answer it and take 30 seconds. So you have 1 minute, 30 seconds to answer and give your final remarks.
So my story is when I started farming, that was around 3 years ago, 2022. It was more of providing for my family, but I've been having a passion in changing the mindset of my community, especially the youth, that it is possible to do farming in Wajir County, regardless of the weather change, the climate change that we are being affected. And my family was also doing livestock. We are a pastoralist community. So during the period of 2020 to 2022, there was a huge drought that affected the larger part of northern Kenya all the way to Turkana. So I think with that, it hit me that we need to think outside the box. What can we do so that we can change the mindset? And during the flood, we had floods immediately after the drought, and Northeastern was cut off from the rest of the country because Tana River bridge collapsed. And during that time, food was very expensive in Wajir. We used to get a piece of tomato being sold at 100 shilling. So you see, that was a huge challenge that we were facing because we were depending on the rest of the country to provide food for us, and we could not access food, and we all know that we cannot survive without food. So it hit me and realized that I need to change, and I need to change the mindset of the youth. And how did I do that? When I started farming, I used to showcase the process, because I didn't know about farming. I was learning through, and I used to ensure that I showcase what I'm doing on the social media platform, especially on Facebook, so that the youths also learn that farming is not easy, but it is a humbling job that we can take up when we see that there is unemployment in the region. Yeah.
Thank you for giving us the great story of where it started, and the fact that it is a confirmation that the problems that we are facing are real and the solutions are with us. So we have to do something instead of just sitting and waiting. To you, please. 30 seconds as you finalize.
Yeah, I would also wish to add to her story. My story, I started farming when I was 4 years old. That's when I can remember. And I've been doing farming, not so much deeply in it, but an episode of depression sparked my passion in sustainable food production. That was in 2020. And it gave me the strong will to come up and continue with community empowerment, youth empowerment, women empowerment as a way of therapy. And up to now, I can say I've had an impact on 5,000 smallholder farmers. This includes the youth, smallholder farmers, and also the men. I come from Murang'a County, and I'm proud to see my CEC of Linkages and Partnership, Dr. Kiringai Kamau, who's also been very instrumental because we have an agroecology policy in Murang'a County, so that enables us to practice agroecology as a way of sustainable food production. And I would like to urge, as youths, we need to be held accountable for some of the activities that we are doing. We need to come out in big numbers. We need to be given platforms where we can give our stories. We need to be given opportunities to mentor other young people because they are able to relate better with our stories. And this can be done through library sessions at the county levels, at the schools, and all that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your story and letting us know that we talk about these activities being therapeutic, but then we see the actual practical lessons of how it has worked as a therapy session or a therapy process. Thank you very much. Kamau, 30 seconds. Please don't go beyond 30 seconds.
Okay, so mine will just be a question. So when we get to 90, will we be able to feed ourselves? Thank you.
Marianne?
Thank you. As a woman, I'm still encouraged that things have changed. It's not so bad as some people might think, because I also benefited from the Women Fund, and I have seen it work for so many women. I think even the youth need to tap to the government space and realize that there are so many offers that they don't check around. So I've been one of those people who've been keeping up with what the government is offering and try to participate. And I must say we also encourage young children to come home and learn about farming. We are a demonstration farm, so we have agritourism. That's also another way of encouraging the youth to come into agriculture.
Thank you very much. We have to end it at this point. And to the person who asked about what the government is doing, how we can do it better, this is just to let you know that we'll be having the Youth and Women Pathway side event where we'll be coming up or drafting a declaration on the youth and the women issues. So if you have something that you'd want to be captured, then that is the right place so that it goes into the declaration for the youth and women. Thank you very much. Give the panelists a big round of applause as they exit the stage. Thank you.
Wow, what an inspiring and energizing conversation that we've just had. So let's appreciate them once they... Okay, due to demand from our speakers, they want a group photo. The voices, yeah, youth and women. So I'm just giving 30 seconds. Please, let's take a nice photo. All right, Asante, thank you very much. Indeed, the voices of the youth and women are not only shaping the agri-food systems, but also redefining them. All right. Now, as we move forward, it's time to take this conversation a bit deeper. You heard about breakout sessions that we're going to be having shortly. So just before we have that, I want to call a few people right on stage so that we can gift them. And I want to welcome on stage Dr. Collins, who is going to gift our speakers. So karibu sana. Let's appreciate Daktari, who is going to gift our various panelists for today afternoon. And on stage, I want to welcome Miss Sally Owanda. Please do come on stage for your gift. Miss Sally Owanda, please do come for your gift. Closely followed by Peter Othengo. Followed by Miss Leah Richardson. Where are the gifts? They have to get it right. They have to get the gifts right. Mm-hmm.
Where is the video when you need it?
All right. All right. No? Dr. Yusuf? Next on stage, I want to welcome Dr. Yusuf. Please do come on stage. Miss Marianne, also please do come on stage for your lovely gift. Followed by Mr. Kamau Njoroge. And I've been updated also, there are people who picked their gifts before, so carry your gift. If you picked it from stage, carry your gift. Next, we have Miss Elizabeth Mwende, and last but not least, Wario Golo. Karibuni sana with your lovely gifts, and we'll take one nice group photo. So who does it? So one nice photo. I've called Peter. All right, thank you very much. Let's appreciate them. So now with all the conversations that we've had today, we're now taking things deeper and we're taking things deeper. So we have 5 different pathways. So the first pathway is youth and women empowerment, which will be right at my right. This will be breakout room 1 on my right, which is your left. Secondly, we'll have digital innovation, which is pathway 2. It will be right here on my left, which is your right. The third pathway, which is nutrition and diets, will be right behind. There's a tent there, and there are labels, well labeled with the various pathways that you're interested in. The fourth pathway is climate action, still will be outside. There's a tent right there. And last but not least, partnership and collaboration will also be outside. So in a nutshell, 2 breakout rooms right here. Breakout room 1 will be right here on my right. That's youth and women. Breakout room 2, that is digital innovation, and the other 3 pathways will be right outside in the various stands. Are we okay? All right, please do take your break.